guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
It's a Statements Monday on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd here. Man, I just saw something come across Twitter that I mentioned briefly to you that will, I think, spawn a statement from me. Something I forgot was happening today that I'm very excited about. But who wants the first statement on Statements Monday?
Dex?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll start with Vikings related statement here off the jump after a big win, obviously, on Sunday Night Football against the Colts. My statement is very simple. Stop freaking out about 39-year-old backup quarterbacks. Let's have a full stop on freaking out over backup 39-year-old quarterbacks. Now, we have examples of really good quarterbacks playing well into their 30s that are established starters that haven't lost a job and haven't been bouncing team to team. That's a different animal. Those quarterbacks still exist. We saw Tom Brady play well into his 40s. Aaron Rodgers is starting to erode, but still played well at 39, So Drew Brees, there's plenty of examples of that. The amount of fear-mongering of, oh my God, I can't believe the bad luck the Vikings just got having to face Joe Flacco.
Wow,
and
just
Anthony
a direct
Richardson.
attack.
This is
on
personal.
Mackie.
But like it wasn't just Phil. I mean, Phil's in the.
No, don't try to
Phil
backtrack.
might have been driving
Don't
the
backtrack.
boat. Phil was driving the boat for sure, but Phil was picking people up on the boat, and they were willingly getting on the boat. That's what I was trying. I couldn't believe. If Phil wants to drive a boat,
I was
the
the Charles Manson of recruiting people, fear-mongering this game.
Jim Jones, you were the Flacco Kool-Aid was being poured.
Yes.
And Flacco was he was rattled all game. He was missing throws. He had a QBR of like 14. It turns out
You weren't a little nervous when it was 7-0 at halftime?
I was more nervous about Sam Darnold shipwrecking than I was Joe Flacco overtaking.
You weren't a little nervous during the pregame warm-ups when steely-eyed Joe Flacco is throwing warm-up tosses?
There was after he threw the pick to Byron Murphy, and I actually haven't scoured the internet. There was a great meme potential of Flacco just on the ground of.
I'm going home.
Oh man,
I'm going home now.
It's been a good run the last couple of years off
bye
my
guys.
couch.
I'm going back to the couch. It was safer there.
I'm tired.
My statement is, let's stop freaking out over 39-year-old backup quarterbacks for a good Vikings defense and a good Vikings team. Full stop on that.
I'll own this L. I will take this L with pride. Declan is right. I think where it was coming from my end is, I don't know, Vikings fans get awfully dismissive over teams that they perceive to be, or quarterbacks they perceive to be mediocre, or like the Colts are garbage. And it's like, actually, if you look at this, that, and the other, and the fact that they're swapping out a historically bad quarterback against the blitz but the truth was probably, Joe Flacco might be an upgrade over Anthony Richardson, but it's not enough to turn them into the dynasty Kansas City Chiefs. I may have taken my fear-mongering based on past Vikings trauma and trap games where they do fall behind 33-0 to a team like the Colts or lose at home to the Falcons or Bills or whoever. Like, we've seen it a million times. In fact, the Vikings have been down at halftime twice, 27-0 to the Colts in like the last 10 years. So it's PTSD driven. But yes, I was the lead fearmonger going into Sunday Night Football.
I didn't realize he couldn't complete a short pass though. Like he has the skill set because his delivery is pretty quick to complete short passes. And when they started to skip at he threw the greatest bounce pass on that site last night since McNabb threw a bounce pass to Shanko in, what was that, 2012 or something like that?
11, I think,
Yeah. I had no idea he couldn't complete a pass anymore. And trying to fit the ball in windows, it's like, Joe, what are you even doing? But here is the Colts. So the Colts organization in a nutshell can be summarized by their past two games in downtown. They have started Matt Ryan, who was my age, and Joe Flacco.
Did we miss the Phillip Rivers era? Did Phillip Rivers also start a game at US Bank Stadium?
Oh, wait.
No.
I think he did. No.
I thought that was the game. I thought he started the game there. I thought
Who
the Vikings
started
played
the Peterson fumble game?
I thought that was the game Oh, and that's way back. Yeah.
That was like 16.
Did Luck start that game? I think Luck was still playing.
2016 was Luck came back from injury, I think, like the week before, and just
he was still playing back then.
And Judd's right. The Vikings went to Indy to play the Phillip Rivers Colts in 2020, but he didn't.
It's another good example. It's another good example that the Colts have the 4th overall pick in the draft. 2 years ago now on their bench, and they're starting Joe Flacco.
Brutal. Can't believe you guys were so scared. Yeah, really can't believe Jubb was so scared. I align with Dex 100%.
The
whole time.
Well, I would have liked to hear Declan bring this passion last week though too, to really start a good fight.
Oh, I had to wait for the result first.
I threw it out there on Purple
threw
Daily
it out
on
there.
Wednesday.
You threw it out there, but I would have liked to hear
both
barrels. Both barrels, baby.
Next time.
I'll give you one here.
Yeah.
I think all of the Dallas Turner milk carton pictures, missing posters.
Slander.
I'm saying like all of the work we did to sniff out Dallas Turner's whereabouts worked well. So he played 26 snaps on Sunday night, and the PFF grades are in. Spoiler alert for we don't really do Judd guesses the PFF grades anymore. But so Dallas Turner of the, let's see, there were 17 Vikings players who played on defense in that game.
Yes.
He was the 5th highest graded player. He had 4 pressures, which is a huge number of pressure. That's awesome. If you're getting 4 pressures a game, you're doing something right in the National Football League. So Grenard had 5 pressures. Turner had 4, including a QB hit, 3 quarterback hurries, couple of tackles, including a stop tackle. He was awesome.
Yeah, he's good.
He was awesome.
This Lewis Cine crap, just because Cine was a flop and they both were picked in the first round. And you know what? This is one where I will blame Brian Flores. You need to find a way to play this kid. It can't just be like, well, he doesn't understand the system as well as Patrick Jones, so therefore he's not playing. Like, think about last night, you guys. Think about the reintroduction to football. Dallas Turner, to a certain degree, 3 was freed. Addison finally became, I don't want to say he was a focal point, but he certainly was involved, right? And then guess what? Guess who played last night? Cam Akers.
Yeah.
Cam Akers finally played, which is what I've been saying is don't give up a conditional draft pick and then don't play a dude.
Yeah.
So like last night, I think you had 3 guys who were sort of reintroduced. And guess what they all did? They all contributed.
Yeah, did Ty Chandler even...
No, he's out.
No.
He's done, dude.
I'm telling you, the 22 draft, like, this is getting worse by the day.
He didn't play a snap.
Like it's like a hit list, dude. It's like
bad.
A Mafia Viking hit list. Guys from the 22 draft are just disappearing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, at this point now, and Cam Akers is reliable enough.
Yeah, it's over.
But, Dallas Turner was really good.
Yes.
He was disruptive. He flashed a few times, eye test, and the PFF grades compliment him very well in that game.
Ty Chandler is on kickoff returns.
Okay, so he was out
That's
there.
it. So he was on the field at times, but it's over. Yeah. It's over. I am going to transition to a red hot team in our fair town across the river in St. Paul.
Oh.
We are watching the leading candidate.
We're not going. We're going. We're just
Oh,
gonna,
well,
we're
I've
just
got
gonna,
one
we're
on
just
them
gonna
too.
go, We're just going to pass
I've got
right
one
by
on
them
them
on
too.
the way
But
to St.
I'm
Paul.
driving by the bank. I'm driving by Huntington Bank. I'm on 94. Which, by the way, they're doing work on. They just started work. What are you doing? It's almost winter. Get off the roads. Get your construction. Take your construction cones home.
Dude, there's like 5 projects in and around the metro area where I'm like, doesn't this like shouldn't this have been done 2 months ago? And doesn't this like have to be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, or we're just going to leave it like
driving
this?
to the game, to the Tampa Bay Wild game on Friday night, and literally they're shutting down lanes, and I'm like, no, it's going to snow. Don't. What are you doing? Anyway, my statement is this: we are watching the current leading candidate for the NHL's Hart Trophy as MVP, and his name is Kirill Kaprizov. He had 3 more points on Friday. Now, he had no points in their 2-1 OT win, which was a great win against Toronto last night. His 21 points are in a three-way tie for the most in the National Hockey League. He has been brilliant. He's always been good. Dare I say it, and small sample size, of course, he has found another level to go to, though. Like, he's traditionally gotten off to sort of slow starts, and he's put together stretches like this. He has never done this at the start of a season. Absolutely brilliant. His passing has gone up a notch. It's fantastic. He can be signed to an extension July 1st, 2025. And I'm telling you right now, the player that we are seeing right now is going to slot in with the other very top names in this league when that payday comes. A pleasure to watch him. I think he leads right now for the MVP of the entire league, even this early in the season.
I saw this from Wild PR, and this was earlier in the week. This was on Halloween on October 31st. So Kirill now has 35 games in his Wild career with 3+ points, so at least 3 points in a game. That is your franchise all-time leader already.
Oh, can we guess the rest of this list?
So I don't have the full list. They just put out the tweet. I mean, he passed Koivu, but Mikko Koivu, and he didn't take him this long to do it. Mikko Koivu played in 800+ games with the Wild, and it took Kirill Kaprizov 260 games to get the 3 points, man. Like, it is also, he is incredible.
Well, Koivu wasn't like scoring goals as part of the equation,
he was
right? I mean,
getting a ton of assists and was never a driver of scoring goals. But it is. I saw that stat pop up last week, and I was like, man, this franchise has just been blessed with so many just run-in-the-middle players.
Oh, God.
If let's say Kaprizov has, let's say he has like reached another level that we weren't 100% sure if it was there, but here it is.
Yep.
And he's going to be, if not the MVP, he is now at this level for the next 3 years. Or what's left on his contract at this point?
A year after this, but
so
he's eligible for an extension.
The Wild can, the Wild can sign him to an extension on July 1st of 25, and they can go 8 years.
Yeah.
If he hits the free agent market on July 1st of 2026, 7 years is the max. So the Wild can actually pay him more technically based on the term of contract. It makes sense for him to stay here.
So let's say he stays. What does it mean for the franchise's winning window if he is this player for the next 3 years, 4 years?
It's bleeping enormous.
Yeah.
Because the Parisi and Suter cap hits go way down. They become almost a non-factor starting when free agency starts again, July 1st to 25. So as far as being able to sign guys, but Kirill Kaprizov, I mean, this team is playing well, and Gustafsson in net has gotten himself in shape and has been great. But all of that being said, Kirill Kaprizov, what he's doing right now, can carry you. And Matt Boldy, who scored the OT goal last night, has been brilliant. So if they supplement the roster even a little bit, the winning window starting with next season with Kaprizov, if he continues this, which he can, is thrown wide open. It's also why he's also... Wait, hold on a second.
New flag.
Wait a second. It takes you oftentimes 8 to 10 seconds to get your purple daily flag. Were you holding that Wild flag in your hand the entire show?
It was right here. No, I pulled it out.
Were you holding it in your hand?
I knew this segment was coming up, or I knew my statement. It was right by me. It's been behind me for quite a while. I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got a bunch of souvenir stuff. I got, let's see. I got my Korea jersey. I'm just going to throw this back here. Yeah. Anyway, winning window, wide open. It's great. I'm telling you, man, we got 3 teams in this town with young players that we should be very thankful. Mm-hmm. When you've got Kirill, Ant, and Jefferson, that is
I love how we
talent.
skipped, and I'm not even like ripping you for this, but real quickly we removed Royce Lewis from that conversation.
I gotta see more. Yeah, unfortunately,
like in like June or July, it was like, oh yeah, and Royce Lewis, but we
yeah.
really
Yeah, but
quickly
I mean,
just say, we'll just take you over here.
but those three that I brought up, I mean, are doing it consistently. And where Ant and Kaprizov have a common thread here is they're both like superstars that are going to megastars. I think Jefferson's there, but Ant and Kirill, it's like, oh my God, you're superstars. And now it's like, oh, no, we're not just superstars. We're going to be megastars.
Yeah, only Nikita Kucherov and Connor McDavid right now have better odds to win the Hart Trophy this year than Kirill.
And Connor McDavid's hurt.
And
that's
hurt.
a bunch of crap right now.
Yeah,
that's a
lame.
bunch of crap. Kucherov's good. Guess what? He came here Friday. I think he had 1 assist. Take that. We got the Russian Rocket.
That's right.
The new Pavel Bure.
Take that. I'll make a baseball statement, and I hope I'm not speaking too early and I'm getting too in front of myself, but my statement is, are we actually going to have a fun baseball offseason? Like the flurry of even options that came in and came out over this last weekend.
Define we.
Like baseball. Like are we as baseball fans going to have a fun baseball offseason for the first time in years?
No. You are. So I actually almost made this statement, not the same as yours, but you're right. Like you now have all of these guys opting out of their contracts, not exercising their options, blah, blah, blah. The problem is once that's done, now we sit. Because I thought the same thing.
When do you think Juan Soto signs by February 1st?
He's a Boris guy, so I'm not confident of anything.
Like this is the thing that baseball needs to shore up is in the NBA or the NHL when the top players are on the market, if they're free agents, you know that between July 1st ish and July 10th, if you just pay attention in that 10-day window and have your phone and engage as a fan, you're going to get to follow the sweepstakes. NFL, hey, the league year. There's the tampering, like they make it a big, like the tampering, which they love. They love the tampering
legal
stuff.
We don't call it legal tampering. It's like you can call the agent.
But you know that between March 10th and March 20th, if you pay attention, you're going to fall in love with your team's new left guard who just got paid $19 million, whatever, right?
Yes.
In baseball, you're like, okay, the hot stove is open. Let's see what my team's going to do here.
What's Garrett Cole going to do?
November 4th. And if I just pay attention for a vague amount of months, could be 2 months, 3 months, might not even be until halfway through spring training. Like it needs to be organized into a briefer window.
For a multitude of reasons, both competitiveness, what you just talked about, which is time periods where guys sign. This doesn't sound great, but does baseball just need a salary cap? Which, by the way, would be a massive sticking point. You'd have a huge strike or lockout. But like you think about what salary caps have done, right? Salary caps incentivize movement. Salary caps incentivize the potential for competition.
It eliminates debate over contract terms.
Yeah,
mostly.
So I guess my question is this current financial system fun? Because fun is what we want.
It's fun for the player who's about to sign for 12 years and $350 million.
But I'm saying back to what Declan said is, are we finally going to have a fun winter? The fun is what what fans can. I mean, the NBA, the National Football League, I would argue, actually almost do their free agency offseason better than they do a lot of their season at times.
Yep. So I mean, back to Dex here, I guess.
I don't know.
I'm skeptical.
I feel like the cold water was poured on that statement 10
seconds.
Oh God,
yeah, no, you're screwed. You're screwed.
But I mean, I like that there was actual movement. Waka signed yesterday. Jorge Soler was traded. Like, I'm actually curious. I'm bullish that there could be actually something that could be happening here this offseason.
I hope you're right, dude.
I would pay. Here's my next statement. I would pay at least $100 to watch today's Alex Rodriguez, Mark Lowry, Glenn Taylor arbitration hearing on pay-per-view. So Doogie, our scoop monster Doogie, he found out where I think he was the only, I don't know if he was there, if they just sent a camera, like a photog from the Channel 5 Eyewitness News sports department. But they sent a camera downtown Minneapolis, like found out the exact. It's been kind of vague about like where is it going to be held? This that. It's being held downtown Minneapolis in one of the large buildings. And on Doogie's Twitter account, he's got video of Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez, full suits, ties, game faces on, getting out of their like private limousines or whatever, showing up for this fight. I would watch this for hours and be highly entertained if they would somehow put this on pay-per-view.
Is this just them with their lawyers they're representing talking?
I think,
or are the parties actually engaging?
No, the parties are in the room.
Right, but I'm saying, do they get a voice, or do they sit there and like consult with their representative, but the lawyer does the talking? I'm curious how this works.
I don't know for sure, but I would guess that the lawyers probably do, because you don't want to. If you're like A-Rod, you don't want to step in it by saying something that
exactly. That's what
you know what you're talking about. My guess is it's lawyers doing most of the talking.
I think you're
but
right.
There might be some contentious little moments, just little subliminal things here too. I just feel like this is one of the biggest Minnesota sports events of this generation. A-Rod and Lowry versus Glenn Taylor in a court of law. Who owns the Anthony Edwards era Minnesota Timberwolves? It's happening right now as we record this podcast.
That'd be hilarious if they did stream it
live.
$10.95 a day.
Have the full Bally's or the full FanDuel Sports Network panel. We got Kevin Lynch. Yep. We got Quincy Lewis.
Some great points by the Taylor camp there, but quite frankly, Marnie, I gotta say, A-Rod and Lowry won that round.
Katie,
amazing. Jim Pete doing like the telestrator. Look at the facial expression here from the Glenn Taylor camp. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. All right, back to me. My statement is this. It's actually a request. First time. I'm going to change things up. Phil, play the rouser.
Oh, okay.
Just
I thought I was going to give the statement because you're disrespecting me.
No, play the rouser. I'm stopping at Huntington Bank Stadium. I'm on my way back from the Wild now.
Listen.
All of you people wanted Fleck fired. PJ Fleck has to be gone. And even a sports dad said, no, don't fight. What's the point? But you know what? Max Brosmer didn't have a great game on Saturday, but he comes through when he has to.
Big fourth quarter.
Dare I say that I think that I can say unequivocally, this Gopher season has turned fun. I think they're fun.
Because it's kind of free money now. All right, you're bowl eligible. You got your 6 wins.
Yeah.
And you're 4-2 in conference. I don't know, looking at the initial schedule that anyone thought. Now, USC, maybe not as good as advertised. So there's some teams on that. Michigan. Sure. If we would have known that Michigan and USC were very beatable, they should have won. That's the thing. Like, you could go through the schedule and say the only real loss that you feel like, yeah, okay, was the Iowa second half. Of course, they were up on Iowa in the first half, but then Iowa just turned it on in the second half. And Iowa's offense is the best it's been in 20 years. But you could make a very strong case, if not for completely pissing away the end of the North Carolina game and a botched offsides call on the onside kick against Michigan. This team should be 8-1 and ranked in the top 15 in the country and flirting with the college playoff.
It's incredible. Now I will say this: the Michigan one, though, like, you screwed the pooch there. In North Carolina, just make the field goal. Like, they set off the fire.
What do you mean they screwed the pooch against Michigan?
Well, they got so far behind, and then they had to come back, and that Michigan team should not have taken that lead in retrospect. But the North,
it's still like Michigan is still like has a bunch of 4- and 5-star players. You miss 2 field goals, hit the field goal, you walk off and win, and I can take a loss at Michigan. The North Carolina loss now, in retrospect, is a terrible loss. But nonetheless, the positive is that this team has rallied to win 4 consecutive games, and they have become fun to watch. And I only wish, my regret is this, that in a college football system where the Gophers have a 30-year-old punter who, by the way, is 6 years older than Ryan Wright, that Max Brosmer can't come back for 1 more year. Yeah. It is. You should probably add Max Brosmer to your. So you got Kaprizov.
Oh, yeah.
We got
special.
Justin
special.
Jefferson.
Max Brosmer.
if you were to give them, I know it's a stretch, but like it's not the North Carolina game is not a stretch. Make a field goal, win the game.
Yep, exactly.
The Michigan game, if it's called correctly, you have the ball driving to win the game again with a field goal, and they just kind of got hosed out of their chance. Let's give them those 2 wins for a second. They'd be sitting here 8-1. They'd also be 5-1 in conference. So 8-1.
Yeah.
Dude, there are, and I'm not saying they are as good as like Tennessee or Texas, but just in terms of 12 teams get into the college football playoff, they would be probably ranked above Alabama at 11, who's 6-2.
Yeah, they'd be talked about. Yeah.
They'd literally be in the mix on the fringe of the college football playoff. And then if you go beat Penn State, Wisconsin.
And I'm looking forward. I think Penn State, that's a fun game now. Like what can you do there? Wisconsin, you should be. Wisconsin's a dumpster fire. Wisconsin got their drawers blown off by the Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
I think they're down to like their second or third QB now. But yeah, it's fun. And this also, though, is why this whole thing about fire Fleck or don't fire, there's no reason to even talk about that. Like, he's done a nice job. He's done fine.
No.
He's a little much for me personally, but and I personally think something happened as far as play calling went. And Brosmer has the confidence, but it feels like at some point within this season, something happened where somebody said, we have to run an offense that looks like it's run in 2024.
Yeah.
Feels like that changed at some point, and that's flip things. And to Brosmer's credit, he's not always great, but I really do think that if there was like a quarterback crunch time stat for college football, which there probably is somewhere, he would have really probably very good statistics in that.
You could make a very strong case that, and I think there's some things about PJ too, like it's like, come on, let's back down. Let's back down on the marketing a little bit. But hey, he's got a method. This is not Ohio State in terms of fertile history, recruiting ground, all those things. It's not Georgia. You could make a very strong case that PJ Fleck is the best Gopher football head coach since Murray Warmath in the early 1960s.
Yeah, and Murray had his ups and downs. Yeah,
and Glenn Mason would be the one that people would say, well, wait a second,
right?
And Glenn did an incredible job building this thing back up after some dark years. But in Glenn's 10 years, the Gophers were 7 games over 500. In PJ's 8 years, they are 19 games over 500.
Yeah.
In conference, PJ is 33-34, so 500 record in conference. Glenn was 32-48. Bowl record, Glenn was 3-4. PJ is 5-0 in bowl games.
Yeah.
And then what about their peak season? 11-2 with a New Year's Day bowl win over Auburn. Final ranking 10th for PJ. For Glenn, it probably would have been the Sun Bowl win over Oregon in 2003 to go 10-3. So 1 win lesser peak, and they finished the season ranked in the top 20. So
and Glenn's
PJ, man,
and Glenn's meltdowns were so epic and so just brutal. I think in my lifetime, I would probably go, and it's I think 2 years, so it's not long. If I ranked him, I would probably go Holtz 1, PJ 2, Mason 3.
But Holtz was here for 2 years.
Yeah, but you
don't get that Notre Dame resume. You don't get that.
No, but I still think he's a better coach in that era. Like it's very important. There's a big difference between coaching then and now. But I would probably go Holtz 1 if I could pick him, PJ 2, Glenn 3, because there is no way not to hold Glenn's meltdowns against him. They were epic.
Yeah, they're part of the story. 100%.
They definitely are. But I'm just telling you, when I watch this team play now and offensively, it feels like something happened here because some of the PJ ridiculousness in-game stuff is gone. They definitely have embraced, again, the passing game to a point where it's effective. I'm doing a lot of less second guessing in the last 5 games than I was in the first part of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rouser.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's good.
All right, Dex,
Good
you
to
want
see.
to fire someone's ass before we wrap the...
Yeah, let's fire someone's
Go on,
ass
Dex.
too. I think this one's probably pretty easy, if I'm being honest. Let's fire Matt Eberflus. Let's just fire Matt Eberflus. This is a train wreck, and shame on us probably for the Bears 6-2. It's like they haven't played anyone, and by the way, their schedule and they do have the Patriots at home, which they should win this week. After that,
weird.
they got the Lions, they have the Packers twice, they have obviously the Vikings twice. I believe the Niners are on there's probably legitimately maybe 3 wins on that schedule left for the Bears that they feel decent with. I don't even know if it's 3. So Matt Eberflus, they screwed the pooch by just not hiring the right offensive coach for Caleb Williams from the start. And I know there's obviously the fear that Ben Johnson jumped ship from one NFC North team to the other. He also asked for like a ridiculous amount of control. Now, maybe, he's an offensive genius, so maybe he deserves to have all this control, but that's the big reason why he didn't get a coaching job or didn't accept a coaching job this last cycle. But let's make this easy. Let's fire Matt Eberflus.
The fact that he was the coach to start the season and to start the Caleb Williams era anyways was weird.
Yeah.
Just pair him with an
Does
offensive
he
guy.
survive this season?
I think he's fired before the season's over.
Okay.
I think the Vikings might get him fired, man. Like, when's that
They
Monday
lose
night game?
That's my birthday. That's December 15th.
So that's that's around the time though that that's a good time to fire a coach. I mean, it's like right before Christmas is kind of bad, but
Merry Christmas, you're fired.
he can
Little
plan to
severance.
hang with his family over the
It's a
holidays.
wonderful life.
Yeah.
What if I had never coached?
Way to go, Caleb. Way to go.
I could see them. Okay, here's what could happen, because it's like the wheels are off, man. Like now there's like stories about players and like there's some leadership stories out there. So if they were to, even if they beat Green Bay or if they beat New England, if they lose to New England, it's like it's on. But let's say they beat New England, they get back to 5-4, and then they lose home against Green Bay, and the Vikings embarrass them at Soldier Field on Sunday, November 24th. I could see the Vikings sticking the final dagger into a Bears coach.
When did the Packers fire McCarthy? Because that year things, it was sort of like this, and they went off the rails and weren't going well, and they finally just pulled the plug.
He was fired following a 20-17 loss to the Cardinals. Let's see here. December 2nd, 2018.
Yeah. December's, yeah. Because you're going to fire him regardless. And the nice thing is it allows you to sort of begin officially planning then for your next move. Perhaps, this never happens, but may I suggest that there could be tampering at that time?
Send a rogue text from a burner phone.
Hey, Ben.
To Ben Johnson.
Hey, Benji, what's up? You want control? You can have control. It's Chicago. All the control you want, Ben.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. Ben Johnson makes a lot of sense. You got a quarterback. I've seen some people suggest the Saints, but like Derek Carr is going to be. You're starting over from scratch. That cap situation.
The if I was the Jags, I would call on Ben Johnson. I at least want to give him a choice of like quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Saints are no.
Yeah.
Saints it's a dumpster fire.
So, Matty Eberflus. Sorry, buddy. You're gone. You're fired. All right, boys. Those are your statements here. Your weekend, your Monday statements on Minnesota sports with Mackey and Judd.